Alright, let's dive into this story about the Gann Fire, but I'm not just going to read you the updates, I'm going to break this down and share what I find fascinating about it all. Here's the thing, wildfires are devastating, no doubt, but the Gann Fire has layers to it that really make you pause and think. So let's start with the hook. Imagine it's your birthday, you're trying to earn some extra cash for a dinner with your wife, and the next thing you know, you're accused of starting a wildfire that destroys thousands of acres. That's the story of Herbert Wayne Smith, and it's just the tip of the iceberg. First off, the Gann Fire started near New Hogan Lake in Calaveras County, California, and it spread fast. What's interesting here is the timing. It began on a Monday evening, just before 5:30 p.m. Now, personally, I think the timing matters because it's not like this was a fire that started in the middle of the night when everyone was asleep. People were still out, and the flames were visible enough to prompt immediate evacuations. That tells me this fire was aggressive from the start, and it's a reminder of how quickly these situations can escalate. What many people don't realize is that wildfires aren't just about the flames, they're about the chaos they create. Evacuation orders went out, hundreds of people had to leave their homes, and the fire destroyed 18 structures. One of those structures was a home where a woman, Susan Solari, was found deceased. This isn't just a story about acres burned, it's about lives upended. And that's what makes this really interesting, it's the human impact that often gets lost in the numbers. Now, let's talk about Herbert Wayne Smith. He claims it was an accident, he was using a saw to cut scraps, trying to earn money for a birthday dinner, and the fire got out of control. Here's where it gets complicated. This isn't his first run-in with fire-related charges. Back in 2018, he faced a similar offense. So the question is, was this truly an accident or is there more to the story? Personally, I think there's a bigger conversation here about accountability and patterns of behavior. If you take a step back and think about it, this raises a deeper question. How do we balance compassion for someone's circumstances with the need to prevent future disasters? Another detail I find fascinating is the response to the fire. Governor Gavin Newsom declared a state of emergency, which allowed for additional resources to be deployed. But here's the thing, even with over 3,100 personnel fighting the fire, it still took days to gain control. As of Friday, the fire was 40% contained, up from 33% the day before. What this really suggests is that wildfires are incredibly unpredictable, and even with all the resources we have, nature often has the upper hand. One thing that immediately stands out is the role of intentional burns. Crews set controlled fires to prevent the Gann Fire from spreading further. From my perspective, this is a classic example of fighting fire with fire, literally. It's a strategy that works, but it's also a reminder of how destructive these efforts can be. Those intentionally burned acres are still burned acres, and they still impact the environment and communities. Now let's talk about the broader implications. Wildfires are becoming more frequent and more intense, and California is no stranger to this. But what's really interesting is how communities come together in these moments. Evacuation centers were set up, the Red Cross provided support, and even livestock had a place to go. This isn't just a story about destruction, it's also a story about resilience and solidarity. In my opinion, that's the silver lining here, how people step up in the face of crisis. Finally, let's end with a thought-provoking question. How do we prevent something like this from happening again? Is it better education, stricter regulations, or something else entirely? Personally, I think it's a combination of all of these things, but it also requires us to rethink our relationship with the environment. Wildfires are a natural part of ecosystems, but when they're caused by human activity, we have to ask ourselves, are we doing enough to mitigate the risks? So there you have it, the Gann Fire, a story of tragedy, resilience, and some tough questions. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more analysis like this. Thanks for watching.